Hello, and welcome to Pete's Paleo Pet Shop. My name is Patricia, and I'm Pete's assistant here, and I will read to you a short story featuring Daisy and Copper, the Camptosaurus. Naptime by Patricia Boujard. Daisy opened her beak and let her tongue hang loose in a gaping yawn that stretched all the way down her spine. She shook her head, and her scaly skin rippled as she shook the yawn down to the tip of her long, rigid tail. Satisfied with her shakedown, she lowered her head down and nosed the conifer needles and knotted roots along the ground. She shuffled the foliage to one side with her hands, scraping a root with the claw that was her thumb, grasping twigs with two strong middle fingers, brushing needles and dried ferns into a pile with the stubby and clawless end digits. She patted the patch of ground one last time and eased her body down front end first, like a cow. She sighed, and after taking one last look to make sure her herd mates were shuffling nearby, she closed her eyes, neck arched comfortably over her shoulders. A deep, short, croaking noise by her head made Daisy open her yellow eyes, and she stared at the disturbance. He was standing over her, his deep red throat bloated and vibrating with each croak. In his beaked lips he held a conifer branch, the tender kind, with soft, scaly needles all along the branch, and he brushed this down Daisy's neck and flank. Daisy just closed her eyes. She didn't want anything to do with this nonsense, but Copper softened his croak to a coo, dropped the branch at her feet, and tapped his beaked nose against her dappled green side. Daisy tossed her head and grunted a quiet warning, and Copper backed away with his head low. He looked sideways at her, and his belly heaved with a deep, soft bellow like a sigh. But Daisy arched her neck away from him and closed her eyes. She heard shuffling, heavy steps, and she allowed her mind to wander as she relaxed into her patch of dirt and ferns. The sun felt warm and soothing on her green, pebbly scales, and she breathed in the tang of sap and spice of crushed cycad fruit. Shuffling steps moved closer, thud, 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 and the rustling of dried needles and ferns. A warm weight settled beside her, dry and pebbly as she, and she opened one eye. Copper lay next to her, his back against her brown belly, and his three-toed feet stretched out like a giant bird laying on its side. If he noticed she was looking at him, he didn't show it, because he kept his eyes closed and his yellow neck arched like he was sleeping. Daisy draped her head across Copper's shoulders and shifted her weight against him, closing her eyes as his rhythmic breathing mingled with the ever-present shuffling of feet in the undergrowth. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing a little bit of your time with me. If you want to find more stories and cute prehistoric critters of all shapes and sizes, head on over to paleopetshop.com. If you like hearing these short stories, then it'd just be delightful if you could click that thumbs up button and click subscribe so you don't miss any new stories whenever I post them. If you want to find me anywhere else, my Instagram handle is @paleopetshop. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a beautiful day full of little joys.